Hi, I'm Bob Putnam, and along with my co-author David Campbell, I've just published this new book called American Grace: How Religion Divides and Unites Us. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about this book. We believe that this book is the most comprehensive and in-depth survey of the role of religion in American life in the last half century. We look at how, in this book, the civic role of religion in America, how religion both divides us and unites us. America is a very religious country, and in many respects we show religion is an important contribution to the vitality of our American democracy. On the other hand, world history tells us that religion taken in high doses can be really toxic. How America is able to combine, almost uniquely in the world, religious devotion and religious diversity and religious tolerance is a central story of this book. I said first that this is a comprehensive study and an in-depth study. In-depth because the study is based on an extended series of interviews, depth interviews we did with about 3,000 Americans about their religious life, about their practices, their beliefs, and their theology, so to speak, and also about their civic life, how they're involved in community life, their relations with friends and neighbors, and so on. We interviewed these people twice over the course of a year period, and that's given us an unusual ability to watch people, individual people, change, both change their religion and change their civic behavior. We also spent a lot of time, 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes a month, sitting in the pews with people in 12 different, very different congregations across the United States. A large evangelical megachurch, a large black African-American church in Baltimore, a number of Catholic parishes, some of them Latino parishes in Chicago, a ward, as it's called, a congregation in the Mormon church in just outside Salt Lake City, several Episcopalian churches in the Boston area, a Jewish synagogue in a Chicago suburb, and so on. Getting to know what religion feels like if you're sitting in the pews of these very different places. I said the book was comprehensive, and there are a lot of parts of the book that I'm not going to have a chance to talk about now. We have spent a lot of time talking about the connection between gender and religion, how the feminist revolution has affected America's religious communities. We spent a lot of time talking about race and ethnicity and religion, and discover that large numbers of Americans, even white Americans, find a very close connection between their ethnicity and their religion. We talk a lot about, we talk a lot, and we have investigated a lot, the connection between American political life and our religious life. We even spend a lot of time showing, I think persuasively, that religious people tend to be better friends and neighbors than non-religious people, but that theology has almost nothing to do with it. It's mainly not our faith that makes us better citizens, but our communities of faith. So there's a lot in this book, but the central theme, as is indicated in the subtitle of the book, is how Americans have been both divided and united by religion over the course of the last half century. We show that over for a series of reasons, Americans have become, over the last 50 years, more and more polarized in religious terms, some of us becoming very religious, and some of us becoming not religious at all. And moreover, that religiosity, that dimension of connection to our religious views, is more and more correlated with our own political views. It used to be there were lots of progressives and Democrats sitting in the pews and lots of unchurched conservatives, but now most people's religious views and their political views are in alignment. And that's caused that's the basis of the culture wars. On the other hand, during the same period, there's been a rapid growth in ties, personal ties that we have across these religious lines. So people are intermarrying more than they used to. Half of all Americans, more than half of all Americans, are, like Chelsea Clinton, married to someone in a different faith tradition. About a third, maybe more than a third of all Americans have changed their own religion in the course of their life. About half of all Americans closest friends are in some other religious tradition, and therefore almost all Americans love some person who is in a different faith tradition from them. And that's why very high fractions of Americans, even of the most religious Americans, say that you don't have to be in their own religion if you're a good person. You don't have to be in their own religion to go to heaven. They may say in Sunday morning, they may read prayers that say that only people of their religion can go to heaven. But every American has an Aunt Susan who's a wonderful person. She's in a different faith than they are, but for sure they know Aunt Susan and she's going to go to heaven. And that the presence of Aunt Susan and all of those personal connections across our religious lines is an important way in which our country is bound together, not just divided by religion. Thank you.